course. A guy like Fleckner killed Phil Messick, almost took his wife, Valerie, too.
And why did you go pay him a visit?
I only went over there to tell him to leave Valerie alone. A stupid thing to do now that I think about it. I just figured I could make an impression and that'd be that. I thank the good Lord I had my gun. When Fleckner was coming at me, I'm telling you, I was fighting for my life.
And what did you do then?
I defended myself. I did not pull my gun until Fleckner pulled his.
Thank you.
Did you know Detective Wayne Dumar?
I did.
In fact, you found Detective Dumar after his apparent suicide, correct?
It was a bad day. Wayne was a good friend.
So you were aware that he was the focus of an investigation involving stolen guns?
There was never anything to those accusations, and they never proved that there was.
Your Honor, what's the relevance here?
Get to the point, Mr. McCoy.
People's 19. This is a ballistics report that ties the gun found on the victim to a robbery investigation by Detective Dumar. There is no link between the gun and the victim. There is, however, a link to your good friend Wayne Dumar.
Mr. McCoy, in my experience, weapons pass through a lot of hands.
3417. Does that number mean anything to you?
Yeah, it was my shield number when I was a police officer.
People's 20. This is an accounting ledger found in the Messick house, which identifies you by your badge number 3417 and by name. Do you have an explanation as to why Philip Messick accounted you as selling illegally obtained property and guns, like the gun stolen by Wayne Dumar and then planted on Fleckner to corroborate your self-defense story?
I don't know who made up that book, but what you're describing never happened.
Mr. Cerullo, did you execute a man to avenge Philip Messick's death and then cover it up?
Objection!
Overruled.
The only covering up I see is from you. You let Fleckner walk, and now you want me to go down for it.
Or did Fleckner walk and you believed that justice had to be done? Isn't that the truth here, Mr. Cerullo?
I killed him to save my own life.
How can that make any sense when all the weapons at the crime scene were yours?
You got it wrong.
Nothing further.
Redirect, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
In your years as a police officer, did your paths ever cross with Jay Fleckner?
No, but I knew him by reputation.
Which was?
A bad guy.
And how did you come to know this?
I had arrested some of Fleckner's associates.
People Fleckner pulled crimes with.
Yeah,
Did you believe that Fleckner knew of you?
he definitely did.
And why did you believe this?
You see, I framed one of Fleckner's buddies on a drug murder. A lowlife named Anton Brady. Another guy he ran with, Jimmy Mills, I sent him up on a rape beef.
Objection. Relevance.
Overruled.
You framed these men?
I framed a lot of bad guys in my day. You see, I'm being honest now about everything in my past. I want to cop to every wrong deed in my career so you'll know I'm telling the truth, that Fleckner was out to kill me. I didn't realize until now, that's why he didn't even hesitate to pull a gun. That's why I had to defend myself.
I think I might have something to leverage Valerie Messick to testify. I showed a copy of Philip Messick's black file to Andrew Semmel in the U.S. Attorney's Office. The Fed's money laundering case leads to an illegal corporate account in a bank in Panama City. It's administered by Valerie Messick.
He kept his own wife in the file?
She's hidden 12 different ways, but their forensic accountant did the math, and she's tied in.
Are the feds planning to indict?
Valerie could be facing 20 years, but they're willing to work with us on any deal we want to make her.
Pitch it to her.
Testimony against Cirillo or 20 years in the pen.
My God, how could this be happening? The feds are willing to work with us, but they won't wait forever.
How hard are they willing to work? How good's the deal?
5 years for the money laundering.
No. If you want her, immunize her.
I want to hear what she has to say.
She'll talk when she's on the stand. Full immunity. She doesn't do a day in jail.
You want Bob, that's what you've got to live with.
Mrs. Messick, would you please describe your relationship with Bob Cirillo?
Good friends.
Can you describe your husband's relationship with Mr. Cirillo?
My husband and Bob knew each other since they were kids.
Your husband was a conduit for stolen goods and weapons between suspects in criminal cases and members of organized crime families, correct?
Objection. Leading.
She's a hostile witness, Your Honor.
You get some room, Mr. McCoy. You can answer that, Mrs. Messick.
As far as I know, that was the business, yes.
Mr. Cirillo made a great deal of money from this relationship, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
A money stream that was totally turned off after your husband was murdered, correct?
As far as I know.
Do you know Mr. Cirillo's motive for killing Jay Fleckner? Was it revenge for the killing that turned off his money?
Can you answer that question, Mrs. Messick?
That wasn't his motive.
What was?
He did it because I asked him to kill Jay Fleckner.
You asked him to?
In the hospital, after I was attacked.
What was Mr. Cirillo's response?
He said he'd take care of it. That he'd kill Fleckner.
In the event Mr. Fleckner was exonerated at trial, correct?
Yes. Which I made sure happened.
What do you mean by that?
I threw my testimony during the trial so Fleckner could go free so Bob could kill him. The bastard killed my husband. He ruined my life. I just wanted him dead. I'm sorry, Bobby. I'm so sorry.
In the matter of the People versus Robert Cirillo, on the count of murder in the second degree, how do you find?
We find the defendant, Robert Cirillo, guilty.
Have fun the next 5 years, McCoy. It's gonna be miserable.
Valerie Messick won't have to answer for a role in the murder.
She made good use of that immunity blanket we handed her.
Without her, we couldn't convict.
Dozen motions for new trials have been filed off Cirillo's old cases.
Up to our eyeballs in ancient history.
Price of justice.